Hi everyone, Sean here for the Google Ads webinar with Zenmaid. We're obviously a few minutes before our start time, so we'll just wait for a few more minutes for people to join us, but looking forward to having you all and talking about Google Ads today. Perfect, great. So we'll just wait a few more minutes before everyone else jumps on. But I hope you guys have had a good start to the week. Incredible, really, that it's already March. So I hope you guys are getting lots of work done. But yeah, I mean, drop me. If any of those of you are online now, just drop me a comment if you've got any questions that you want to cover off. And yeah, we'll get through to it. Hey guys, so just wait a couple more minutes before we start. So just let me know if you've got any questions that you want to address at the beginning, and I'll try and come to those during the presentation and at the end. But yeah, it's 2 minutes to, so we'll just wait for another couple of minutes and then we'll get started. Hey guys, so it is time to get started. So I'm sure there'll be other people joining us in the next few minutes, but you know, great to be on here talking to you about Google Ads today. Many thanks to Amar and the Zenmaid team for having me on. I'm really looking forward to sharing what I know about Google Ads and you know, how we apply it to the cleaning industry. So this is actually my first time using Facebook Live, so hopefully everything will go smoothly. I'll probably just jump back every so often just to have a look at the comments, just because when we're doing the screen share, I won't be able to see the comments come through. But as I said, if you guys have got any questions as I go along, I'll answer them all at the end. But feel free to just drop comments as we go through, and then I can come to it at the end and answer those for you. So just before we get into the presentation, it's going to be, just to let you know, it'll probably be around 20 minutes long. And I'm going to go through some of the main sort of basic things around Google Ads and ultimately how we make money from it. I have my own cleaning business, and I obviously manage Google Ads campaigns for other cleaning companies as well. So at the end, I'll tell you a little bit more about my services, and there's actually a special offer for Zenmaid customers if you were looking to get me to manage your campaigns for you. So we'll just jump straight into it then. So hopefully it should go to my presentation screen here. So as I said, the presentation is really talking about how we can use Google Ads specifically to the cleaning industry. And I have a slightly different approach to many other Google Ads managers or agencies that you would have come across, because I actually came into the Google Ads land from running my own cleaning business, and I'll just take you through how that organically happened. But the name of my agency is Project 83, and that's the website and the contact email address if you wanted to find out a bit more information there. So what we're going to cover off today is really sort of laying out what the best approach is with Google Ads. There's a lot of complexity around Google Ads. There's lots of information, lots of data, and it's quite easy to get lost in it all. So we lay out, what I try to do is lay out the key things that we want to be focused on. We'll then look at a simple campaign and how we start to really identify ROI in Google Ads, and trying to find out which opportunities there are to make us money at the end of the day. And then towards the end of the presentation, I sort of look at the pros and cons of using a Google Ads manager rather than doing it yourself, and some of the things and questions you want to be asking as you're making that decision. And then finally, just a bit more about Project 83 and what we do. And as I said, I'll come to any questions at the end, but feel free to post those as we go along. So I'll just quickly jump back to make sure everyone is still online. So I'll assume that you guys can all hear me and see the screens okay, unless you're dropping me a comment. So I'll keep going. So just a very quick background on me then. So, my cleaning business, Neat Services, we're based in London in the UK, but we're actually in 4 of the largest cities in the country. And I actually set up, Neat, actually in a similar time to when Amar set up Zenmaid, back in the day. So we've been going for a similar amount of time. I think it's probably 8-9 years now. So really incredible how the time flies. But what we've had a lot of success with, particularly as we've added new cities. And for us, we've tried every marketing channel, from Facebook to offline, flyers to online, partnerships, all these different things. And for us, the way we've managed to scale up has been primarily due to Google Ads and SEO. So those of you that know about those two things in a bit more detail, so SEO is much more of a longer term play. So you have to do lots of things up front, and you often don't see the results of those efforts until 6, 12, 18 months down the line. So SEO is really important as a longer term strategy, but that doesn't really work if you're launching in a new location or you're just starting up, because you need to get leads straight away. You need to get client inquiries straight away. And that's where Google Ads is really, really good, because it gives you an instant boost from day one. You can turn it on, you can turn it off, you can up your spend, you can reduce your spend. So the way we've had real success with it is that, when we've gone from one city to two cities to three, whenever we launch completely new and we don't have any word of mouth or anything like that, Google Ads gives us that real kick, that turbo boost to begin with. And then as our SEO activities come to fruition, then SEO starts to become a big mix. But between SEO and Google Ads, that is really the way that we've really scaled this business. And I've built the business very much to be so I can take a managerial role. We have a team of office staff that manage the day-to-day operations for me. So even though we're in 4 cities, I only spend about 2 hours a week on that business. And really, it was as I was stepping away from the day-to-day running of the business, the Project 83, the opportunity around that came about, because it was quite clear from being in Facebook groups like this and talking to other cleaning business owners that I was getting really good results with Google Ads, and I was getting a good ROI, good cost per leads, and people started asking me about their accounts, their campaigns, and if there was anything that I would change for them. And it sort of organically came about from there that people started asking if I had the time to manage their accounts. And obviously, when I was running everything day to day with Neat, I didn't have the time. But as I was stepping away from the business, it became clear that there's lots of demand for these types of services, and being specific to the cleaning industry, I could use the template and strategy I use for my business for others as well. So my Google Ads agency came about completely organically from people asking me, and it came from that. So Project 83 is a business that works with cleaning businesses all around the world. The name Project 83 just comes from the $83,000 a month, the $1 million a year. Often one of the things that when I speak to new cleaning companies about is that they want to get to 7 figures per year. So that's the reason behind the Project 83 number. But importantly, what you can see with this split is that even though I'm based in the UK, the majority of my clients are US, Canada, and I'd say around 60%. We've got 20% in the UK and 20% in Australia. And the reason why that split exists is because the way that people search for cleaning services, maid services, in all English-speaking countries tends to be very, very similar. So the approach that I used in the UK that was successful, you can apply to the West Coast in the US, you can apply into Canada, Australia, and you can get really, really good results. So the English speaking, despite being in different countries, the same strategy and approach works. So this is just to give you an idea of where most of my work is. And as I said, I'd say well over 50-60% is actually in the US and Canada. And then finally, I do some cleaning coaching and cleaning mentoring on the side as well, primarily working with some businesses around systems and automation as well. So actually with my cleaning business, taking me 2 hours a week, my time now is split between the Google Ads agency and doing some business coaching as well. So, very brief background to me. So let's just, I'll just quickly check there's comments, and then we'll just jump into exactly what's going on. So, looks like we're good to go. So, page 1 on Google. So this is where all the magic is. So as you can see, we've got a screenshot on the right hand side just showing you what page 1 looks like. And what you'll see is that the top, at the moment, it tends to be the top 4 positions. So if someone types in cleaning company Chicago, for example, the top 4 positions at the very top of the page will be Google Ads positions. Even 2 years ago or 3 years ago, this might have been the top 2 positions, even the top 1 position. But obviously Google is a for-profit business. They want to be shown that their profits are growing with time. So it's inevitable that more and more of this first page is being taken over by Google Ads and Google Ads positions. And what you find is that this is even more pronounced on mobile, because mobile versus desktop, because on a mobile you need to scroll further down. So actually when you type this in your mobile, on your mobile phone, it's most likely that all the results that you see in that first page, that first screen, will be Google Ads positions, and you'll need to scroll further down below before you get to the Google SEO rankings. This middle section here is quite a recent thing as well, called the Google My Business listings, and this is where you create a listing, a profile with Google. You tell them where your cleaning company is based. You give them some information, but it also allows you to add ratings, and it allows your clients to leave ratings as well. So this middle section is quite prominent. Obviously, with mobile becoming more and more important, the way that you get ranked in here is really depends on the location of the person actually searching for cleaning company Chicago, and the location of your own business. And obviously, the closer they are, the more likely you are to be shown in this 3-pack. But also the volume of ratings and the average ratings are important as well. So the top two sections, Google Ads and Google My Business listings, are at the top of the page, and then Google SEO is actually what you call below the fold, and this is where you actually need to scroll down below the page before you start to see these top listings. And it very much used to be the case, 5-10 years ago, that if the Google Ads, the Google SEO listings were at the very top here. And if you were number one for cleaning company Chicago, you would be absolutely made. Your business would get the vast majority of all the traffic. And as time has gone along, the organic listings have fallen further down the page. It's not to say that Google SEO isn't important, but it's just less important than it was. But really, if you're looking to build a sizable business, getting to that 7-figure annual revenue and above, you want to be visible on all these sections. So you don't want to be neglecting any of these. So you want to be visible on Google Ads. You want to be visible at the GMB section, as well as the organic listings as well. So that just gives you a brief overview of where we are in terms of Google Ads on page 1, for those of you that weren't aware. So we jump down a bit deeper. That's giving you an overview of where Google Ads is now. And as I said at the very beginning of the presentation, there's an awful lot of complexity with Google Ads, because there's so much data out there that it can get quite easy to get lost in what is important and what isn't. So what I've done in this slide is I've just picked out what I think are the 4 most important areas to really focus on, that will allow you to set up a campaign and make money at the end of the day. So section 1 is keywords. So this is really where you start off, and this is where you are telling Google, I want my cleaning company advert to show up when someone types this term or this phrase into Google. So it could be, as I said, cleaning company Chicago. That would be an example of a keyword that you wanted to go after. It obviously gets more complicated than that, because people search for cleaning companies in different ways. So you could also have house cleaning companies Chicago or cleaners Chicago, and there are a whole lots and lots of variation around what people search for. But as important as what you're targeting is what you don't target, and this is what's called the negative keyword list. And the negative keyword list, as an example, might be if someone types in cleaning job Chicago. That someone typing in that into Google is obviously someone looking for work. If you're running a campaign where you're trying to find clients and your advert shows for someone typing in cleaning job Chicago, someone clicks on that advert, that is a wasted click. You've paid for that click. So in that case, the word job would be an example of a negative keyword. So what we want to do is add that to a negative keyword list, and that tells Google that, if that search comes up again, we don't want our advert to show. And it just allows us to keep a really efficient campaign setup and minimize any wasted spend. So what we go after as well as what we don't go after is really important, and this is really the start of Google Ads and thinking about campaigns. Section 2 is probably perhaps the most important part of this presentation, and this is having a very clear understanding what your customer lifetime value is. I find that a lot of people know what lifetime value is, but if you ask them specifically what that value is for their business, they won't know. And this is particularly important in our industry because we get lots of recurring clients, so weeklies, bi-weeklies, monthlies. So actually the lifetime value of a recurring client who, say, stays with you for a year or 2 years can be many thousands of dollars. And what we want to do is to make sure that we know what that customer lifetime value is. So we take all the weekly clients, we find out on average how much money do they spend with us each job. We find out how long they tend to be with our company. Is it a year, 2 years? We do the same with our bi-weeklies. We do the same with our monthlies. And then we look at our one-offs as well. And we create this mathematical equation where we just try to take an average of that number. And the reason why this is really important is because when you're putting money into paid advertising, you want to be calculating what the cost is to acquire a new client. And if you compare that to your lifetime value, your customer average lifetime value, if the lifetime value is many multiples, 3, 4, 5 times what you're paying for on Google Ads, then you want to be putting as much money as possible into the platform. But what I find is a lot of people don't know what this lifetime value is, so they tend to underestimate the ROI that they're getting from this paid marketing channel. So they'll say, we got 5 customers this month, we've got a couple of regulars, but they really weigh the regular recurring clients not too dissimilarly to the one-offs. But the reality is if you can get one new recurring client that is worth, say, $3,000 to you, you are running a hugely ROI positive campaign. So figuring out what that number is, it doesn't need to be an exact number, but what you want to be doing is get a good idea of what, approximately what your lifetime value is, because when you can start tracking your Google Ads campaigns and finding out what your cost per lead is, cost per acquisition, then it makes it a far simpler evaluation. You can say, yes, it is working, or no, it isn't working, or we're doing a really great ROI, so we want to put more and more money to work on that side. So this is really important. I find probably that 90% plus of the clients I work with in this industry don't know what that number is. So just even knowing that and calculating that puts you at a huge advantage over other cleaning companies that are advertising on Google Ads. So number 3 is closely related to the customer value. So, if you get that value in mind, what your lifetime value is, that is great. But the next stage is tracking these leads. And what that means is that we want to track how many online inquiries we're getting from Google Ads. How many times is someone filling out a contact form or an inquiry form, and that gets sent to our office manager. We also want to be tracking phone calls as well, so someone picks up the phone and calls us. And what I find is that many people have this online inquiries set up. You can create a thank you page in your website, and you drop some code on that thank you page, and that communicates to Google Ads whether a lead has come as a result of someone clicking on a Google ad. But many people, it's well below 10% of clients I work with will have this phone call tracking in place. And this is really, really important, because even now people talk a lot about online booking, but the reality is that many people will still pick up the phone, and it's not off 50-50 really between online inquiries and phone calls. So if you're not tracking your phone calls, then you are completely missing half the story, and it just means that you're not tracking your marketing campaign as well as you could be. So it means it's harder to, if you're only getting half the data, it means that you're guessing to a much greater degree about whether you're making money on your campaign or not. So lead tracking is really, really important, and you want to be making sure that you've got your online inquiry tracking set up, but also your phone call tracking. And the phone call tracking does take a bit more work, and there are various call tracking software available on the market, but it's well worth looking into that, getting that set up. And once you have it set up, then you have all the data that you need to really figure out what the best way to make money is from the platform. And then the final point on this slide is just talking about the testing, and how important testing is, because again, some people think that if you set up a campaign in a certain way, you can just leave it and just put so many hundreds of dollars a month into it, so many thousands of dollars, and it will just keep cranking out clients. And really, this isn't the way that you will get really great results with Google Ads. What you need to be doing is constantly testing. So comparing the performance of one ad versus another ad, looking at the keyword performance of one specific keyword versus another. And what you find is that if you're making small improvements at every step consistently, then you'll find that you get a significant uplift in performance over time. But you only get that, obviously, if you keep testing. So if you don't test, you won't get a very, very well-performing campaign. So having a great setup is great because it gets you to the start line, but the way you should think about it is it only gets you to the start line. It doesn't get you to the end of the race, and that's what the testing and iteration element does to you. So before we just go into what an example of a campaign, I'll just quickly go back, just make sure that we've still got people. That seems fine, so that's good. So what I'm doing here is we've talked about where Google Ads is on page 1. We've talked about the most important things to look at. So let's have a look at a very simple example, just to get get your thought process en route. So what I've said here is we've got a house cleaning company in Chicago. We've set up our first Google Ads campaign, and I've asked the question here: which Google search do you think is best? And these are what are called search terms. So Google Ads allows you to find out exactly what people are searching for, and your ad is coming up for. So particularly at the beginning of a campaign, you might get these types of cleaning related search terms. So which Google search do you think is best? So, very quickly going through this, the cleaning services seems okay. The house clean job, jobs, as I said, is an example of someone looking for work. So this would be something that would be less interesting for us, someone looking for work. So I would say, this was less interesting than the top one. Number 3, best cleaning company, Chicago. So we've got the service, the location, the service plus location here. So this is really a high quality search term. Number 4 is office cleaner near me. So these people, this searcher is looking for a cleaner near me, but it's an office, rather than a house cleaning company. So probably less relevant for us. And then we also tend to, we occasionally get some competitor terms. So people that are looking for cleaning company, a specific cleaning company in our location, Zenmaid Chicago, for example, might be another one that comes up. So this is really a selection of the types of search terms that we might expect, and obviously depending on your experience and of running these campaigns, we can eliminate some of these less attractive ones much quicker than someone who is completely new to it. But this hopefully gives you an idea of the types of things that might come about. So which search term do we think is best? And the answer is it depends, and this is really where the complexity of Google Ads starts, coming to fruition, because when we set up Google Ads, particularly, we can tell them what keywords we like and which keywords we prefer to be shown for. So we don't want to be shown for these house cleaning job keywords. We do like the best cleaning company Chicago. We're a house cleaning company, so actually we don't want to be shown for any office related terms. So we can tell Google what terms we like, but the complexity comes because we can then start to say, okay, we can bid different amounts for each time our advert is clicked. So to keep the math simple, say cleaning services is $5 per click, best cleaning company Chicago is $10 per click. If we overlay the cost per click by these two, then it becomes a more difficult question, which search term is best, because we are bidding different levels. So, to make things simple, say out of every 5 ad clicks, we got one online inquiry, or we got one phone call. So one lead for every 5 ad clicks. So that is a 20% lead conversion rate. So if we are paying $5 for cleaning services, it means that 5 ad clicks is 25. So the cost per lead is $25. But for best cleaning company Chicago, if we're paying $10 per click, 5 clicks is 50. So the cost per lead is 50. So the price or the cost to acquire a lead for this keyword is twice what it is for cleaning services. So purely on that basis, it would seem that the cleaning services keyword is a more interesting opportunity for us, because we're getting leads at a lower level than best cleaning company Chicago. But it gets more complicated than that, because the conversion rate is also another moving item. So the conversion rate is saying, as I said at the beginning, we might expect 1 lead for every 5 ad clicks, but that can vary by keyword. So we maybe get 1 lead for every 5 ad clicks for cleaning services, but maybe we get one lead for every 2 ad clicks for best cleaning company Chicago. So that makes things a little bit more tricky, because if best cleaning company Chicago is $10 a click, we only need 2 clicks to get a lead. That means the cost per lead is $20 versus cleaning services, which is $5 a click. 5 clicks to get 1 lead, so 5 times 5 is 25. So actually, even though we're paying more for this keyword, the cost per lead at the end of the day is less than cleaning services. So this is a more attractive opportunity. So I hope I haven't lost too many of you there, but this is where things start getting more complicated and interesting, because we've told Google which keywords we want to go after. But what we can also do is tell them, okay, which keywords do we want to pay more for, and which do we want to pay less for. We need to be looking at conversion rates, and ultimately it's the cost per lead. Where can we get the best bang for our buck? Where can we get the most leads for our money? And this is where the conversion tracking is really, really important, because if we know that certain keywords are much better performers than others, then we want to be channeling more of our money into there and taking it away from the poorer performing keywords. So knowing our numbers is really, really important, but it doesn't work unless we've got all the conversion tracking set up in place. So online leads inquiries as well as the phone call. So we need both to make sure that we're running a really tight campaign. So that's a very quick run through of how the sort of thought process you want to be going through as you are looking at a Google Ads campaign and trying to figure out if it's going to work for you or not. So The final two slides just talk about, at what stage you might look to use a specialist as opposed to doing it yourself. And, when I was running my own cleaning business, I used different freelancers, agencies before, deciding to learn it myself completely. I went through many of these thoughts and questions at the time. So when to use a specialist. So the first item I've tried but failed. So as I said, Google Ads for a novice can seem very, very complicated. There's an awful lot of data there. It's often hard to know where to start. And Google makes it extremely easy for you to waste money for people that don't know what they're doing. So I always say it's better to not do it at all than to do it half, to half a degree, and then you'll just spend lots and lots of money wasted, and you'll just line Google's pockets. So when using a specialist, using an agency or freelancer to manage your campaigns can often be a really, really good way to help you get up the curve. So this is what I did. So I engaged with an agency, and I asked them lots of questions. I asked them that they sort of teach me along the way, tell me what they're doing and why. And this was a really good way for me to improve my knowledge, as well as giving it to a specialist to manage my campaigns for you. So using an agency, can be really good, not only for getting you good results, but for also improving your knowledge. And that is really, really important for a business owner, because you don't want to completely outsource your Google Ads to someone and not know how it works, because you need to be keeping them accountable. So understanding and learning about the subject is really important, and working with an agency can be a great way to improve your smarts on the topic. The second one is probably the one that most people will be trying to weigh up. So working with an agency or freelancer, there is obviously a management fee involved. And really what you want to be doing is doing a simple mathematical comparison with, thinking about, okay, I spend $2,000 a month with Google Ads. I'm running it myself. How many leads, how many clients have I got from it? And if I compare that to using this agency or this freelancer who is going to be charging me this management fee on top, is my overall revenue or overall number of clients and leads going to be more than that? And is it going to justify, justify that additional management fee? And this section here is really, really important, because this often gets missed, particularly by people that are relatively new to the business, new to the cleaning business, because as I was saying at the beginning, the value of one recurring client can be many, many thousands of dollars in lifetime value, because say they're spending $100, $150 every week, every 2 weeks for 1 year or 2 years. And that is perfectly achievable if you're running a decent quality maid service cleaning company. The reality is that if that agency can get you even one extra recurring client a month, that can be worth $3,000 or more over the lifetime value. So that can more than pay for management fees multiple times. But the problem is, if you're new to the business and your cleaning company is, say, only a few months old, you don't have the visibility or the data to see that a recurring client is actually worth so much to you. So when you think about your Google Ads management, really the way you get a really incredible ROI, and the reason we pump as much money as possible as we can into Google Ads for my own cleaning business is because I really, really understand the ROI. I know that a recurring client is hugely ROI positive, and if you get two, it's even more so. Google Ads doesn't really work if you're going to just go after one-off clients. It can work really, really well if you're really focused on getting recurring clients. So the question here is, if your agency can get you more recurring clients than you can, it's often a no-brainer to use them, because the value of what they bring versus the management fee can be so different that it's just hugely worth it. So the final note here is just to say, if you do decide to use Google Ads Manager, there are so many agencies, so many generalists out there. So, but use one that has experience in the industry and in your geography. So if you're using a generalist, you're not going to get a very good result. If you're using someone that knows and has worked with cleaning companies in your location or in your country, that is when you're going to get the best results. So final slide is just with regard to Project 83 and what we do. So our services are we charge an initial entry price of $299 for a setup fee, and then $299 per month for ongoing management and optimization. This is the entry level price. So, if you are running lots of locations or have a very large ad spend, then that will increase. But this $299 and then $299 a month is the entry level price that we offer. What I've done here is just for Zenmaid customers, we've put a reduction there for a $250 setup and a $250 a month. If you were interested and wanted to sign up before the end of March, then we could apply that discount for you. But I hope that presentation's been helpful and interesting. Obviously, just a quick run through how it's all set up. Feel free to go to my website, project83.co.uk, to find out a little bit more about what we do, and my services, and drop me an email as well if you've got any questions. But we'll go back into the comments. I'll just drop back, and obviously if there's any questions, very, very happy to answer those. So let's just jump back. So yes, guys, if there's any questions that you've got, just drop me a comment, and happy to answer that now, or as I said, if you want to email me directly, I can take it offline. So shoot ahead if there's any questions. So obviously this will be hopefully recorded in the Zenmaid Inner Circle group. So if any of you are watching on the replay, just feel free to send me a private message, or send me an email if you've got any questions. But I'll just wait for another minute or so, and then I'll close it up. But as I said, hopefully it's been helpful for you. But yeah, if you've got any questions, comments, do let me know. Otherwise, we'll bring it to a close. Great. Well, if there's nothing else, then guys, then I'll leave it at that. As I said, thanks for being here and listening to the presentation. I hope it's been helpful and useful. As I said, it's Google Ads is one of those tools that people can sometimes get quite put off by, because of the complexity, and they worry that if they don't do it properly, then they'll waste lots of money, and that is true. But really, at its core, there are certain things that if you focus on and get right, it can be hugely ROI positive for you, and it is a really great way to use, particularly if you're looking to boost your clients, or improve, or add a new location, add a new city. So it can be really effective. It's been hugely effective for our business as well. As I said at the beginning, I work with cleaning businesses all around the world and have lots of success stories with them. But I'll bring it to a close then. I hope you guys have a great rest of the day. And as I said, feel free to get in touch if you've got any questions. But otherwise, hope the rest of the day is productive. We'll be in touch. Thanks very much, everyone. Cheers.